Queenzflip and Ish go to war. On the last episode of the Joe Budden podcast, Queenzflip and Ish found themselves at odds in regards to a conversation about Drake putting hands or having someone put hands on Joe Budden. Now, it's not really that conversation that I find interesting, but I think the conversation, the undertones of it, are something we need to spotlight, as I see some type of tension brewing between Ish and Flip. There was even the incident that Flip referenced where Ish liked a picture of a lady and that lady used to be a man, and you could tell that really bothered Ish. Like, he was like accusing Flip of looking for a moment. And that's the type of stuff that I think really angers Ish about Flip, is like he's always going to look for the moment. So it's tough to have a conversation with him because, you know, it's COE. But with that being said, he's on the podcast, so he's supposed to engineer moments for the show. Now, everybody knows Queenzflip remains a mercurial podcaster. 1 minute he's hot, the next minute he's cold. But someone who might match his up and down nature with regards to being a podcast host is Ish. I mean, the guy has been pretty bad as of late. And I think it was exemplified by his approach to the Bridget and Mandy situation, where he didn't want to talk about Bridget and Mandy breaking up, but then when the conversation was actually brought up by Joe, he wanted to seem like a know-it-all.
Like, so you know I speak to Mandy.
Wait, let me finish real quick.
So we arrived to this episode where the two are at odds over this idea of Drake ever having hands put on Joe Budden. And I think Queenzflip won the argument largely because Ish started to say, oh, people who are super rich would never put hands on anybody. But then when Flip brought up the situation about, you know, somebody getting punched in the deep nether regions of Queens, all of a sudden Ish started to say, oh, but that's so-and-so part of Queens. That's not what, you know, Drake or any of them would find themselves at. So I think he won that debate. But there was also another incident where the two kind of clashed on that very same episode, and they were making fun of each other, with Queenzflip making fun of Ish's receding hairline.
This shit getting thinner and thinner at the top. You looking stressed. They out them clothes on.
And they got all black on with the brown sneakers.
It's not
And Ish making fun of how Queenzflip dresses. Now, that is very interesting, because now, you know, these guys are making fun of how each other looks. And I know a lot of you are going to say, this is how guys relate, Daddy. It's no big deal. You're reaching. Well, when you start to take personal shots at people, make fun of the way they look and how they dress, that can get personal really easily. And that's when the microaggressions start to become real aggressions, and a blow up happens, similar to the one that happened with Ice and Flip last year. And there was also another previous episode where Queenzflip snapped and called Ish a groupie.
Stop touching
Why
me.
you always want to get involved, nigga? You been a groupie lately too, nigga. You been a groupie lately, nigga. Fucked up hairline, walking slow, licking your lips. You been a groupie lately.
Me.
Also, there was an Instagram live that was done where Queenzflip was ridiculed by Ish for the Nicki Minaj situation.
Nigga, you just said you and Nicki fly. She got your phone numbers. Now she like, who the I did say that. I know she not fly. She don't know who you are.
Flip went on a Twitter Spaces and was swearing that, you know, Nicki Minaj knew him, and then it appeared like Nicki Minaj had no clue who he was. You know, shoot Flip some bail. Like, Nicki Minaj might know so many people that, you know, someone like Queenzflip, who she might have met in passing, doesn't register to her. Ish was making fun of that, and also making fun of Flip's Flip the Network, where he called Flip the Network Feed the Needy. That was a great joke, Ish. That was very funny. Now, I'm just saying, these are several incidents where the shots are getting alarmingly personal. And I think we're headed for another flare-up, one where the two will find themselves taking insanely personal shots and snapping on each other in a way that will make things more awkward. I mean, this is very interesting because both of these guys, none of them have been able to establish a consistent flow on the show. Both of them are really good or they're bad. There's no in between. And, you know, Flip is interesting in being an A mic. Like, when Joe's absent, he'll be the A mic. But Ish, he falls into the background. He kind of half-steps sometimes. I think he relies a little bit on his gift of gab too much and doesn't really research or ever try to be someone who can segue in and out of topics. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think this is real? What do you think about the recent exchanges between Ish and Flip? What is the ramifications of this for the show moving forward? I think a lot is on the horizon, and I wouldn't take these recent exchanges between Ish and Flip as just playful banter, as they're getting insanely personal. Alright, y'all, that's my video for now. I got more content coming. I think I want to comment on the Bridget Kelly situation. Joe Budden spoke about her, and I think that deserves its own video. I also wanted to do another video about Good Moms, Bad Choices. Joe Budden made some recent comments about them, and I think they were very fascinating and gave keen insights into the show. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to have a dialogue. Like, comment, subscribe, so that way when the video comes up, it will be at the top of your feed. Follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. Follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.